The story of her holding an orange. If you guys like this story, make sure you go and buy the book. Okay guys, before I get started, I gotta give you fair warning. This story is absolutely true, unfortunately. It is also very long. It goes back to my childhood, but I wasn't terrified until very recently, and I am now completely lost in fear. I'm an adult man, logical and intelligent, or at least I'd like to think so, sitting on a bed scared shitless right now. Goosebumps all over my body, tears of horror in my eyes. I ask for your help in explaining this fucking thing. Caution. You'll notice that I cursed quite a bit. I want you to know that what you read from now on is the situation perceived by me in my mind. I like to think that I'm a rational person, and I haven't been able to explain these occurrences in any natural way. Since my mom got a job, she started making new friends. It's very common in our country that friends come to each other's houses for a cup of coffee, cake, gossip, whatever. A few weeks into her new job, my mom made friends with this woman, Rose. She would come over maybe twice a week, and they'd sit around the coffee table on our balcony and just talk. One day when I was 17, I was out on the balcony with them. Not too sure why I was there, but knowing me, I probably ran out of internet hours. Back in the day when the internet was bought monthly per hour in my country. And I was bored as fuck. So we're sitting there, they're gossiping about who knows what. And my mom gets up to go get some cake that she had baked recently. I remained sitting at the table with Rose, and that's when my life changed forever. Rose was a good-looking woman. She was about 5'6", skinny, long black hair, pearly white teeth, an overall very attractive woman. Anyway, I'm sitting there with her and she turns her head to me with this creepy grin on her face. The bright red lipstick and the bright white teeth underneath are just making her look more scary. Her head moving slowly, almost as if she was a puppet. She says something in the lowest possible tone, certainly not loud enough for me to hear it. "Excuse me?" I say, still not being scared, just a bit weirded out. "Are you ready to go now?" She said in the voice of a child. I kid you not, like maybe an 8-year-old girl. Grin still there, she mustered those words through her teeth, never opening her jaw. "What?" I asked, starting to get scared. "You ready?" The same thing again, only this time, she pulls an orange out of her purse. That's it. She just took the orange out and held it there. Didn't offer it, didn't eat it herself, just held the fucking thing. At that point, I was starting to get scared as fuck. Thankfully, my mom came back with the cake. Rose, almost as if someone pushed a button on a remote, switched back to her normal self, putting the orange back in her purse without my mom even noticing. I left the balcony creeped out, but I was 17, so I brushed it off pretty quickly. That night, I had trouble sleeping. My room was on the first floor, and my window was maybe at a 5-foot height. So I kept looking at it, praying to not see some scary monster or something. I would turn in my bed constantly to look at the window, maybe every 5 minutes. It was getting late and I started to doze off, but I decided to look at the window one last time. And there she fucking was, standing in the fucking window. Rose. Just standing, looking directly at me. The moonlight was bright enough for me to see her, with the same grin on her face. Lipstick was as red as ever. Teeth were whiter than ever. I was paralyzed with fear. I often imagine what I would do in situations like these, and I always had an escape plan for any hypothetical I threw myself in. But now, when this friend of my mother's was staring at me through the window at 4 a.m., just smiling, I was motionless. My mouth got dry. I got goosebumps. I have them now as I'm typing this. And I swear I became freezing in my room. Probably just the way the body reacts to shock. Finally, I gathered the courage to get up and started walking towards the door, her head turning with me, slowly, with the grin still there. Again, as if she was some kind of puppet. I wanted to scream for my parents, but knowing how tense they are, I decided not to cause a panic just yet. There had to be some sort of rational explanation for this, right? For fuck knows what reason, I decided to walk to the window and ask her what the fuck her problem was. I made 2 steps towards the window and froze. I froze because she moved. You know what her movement was? Taking the orange out of her purse. Does anyone know what the record time could possibly be for having goosebumps? Because they sure as hell aren't going away. Anyway, after being terrified for a minute, I decided to go on. I'm a big guy and I figure I'd be able to fight her off if push came to shove. My window has to pull up in order to open it. I pull it up maybe some 10 inches or so, and stop. She's not moving, just holding the fucking orange, and looking at me with the scariest grin you will ever see. I stand there. She stands there. Then, she starts bending. But every move she makes is so slow, like mechanical. She's bending so she can open the part of the window. I'm horrified. She pushes her head through it, just enough space for her head to go through. You go with me now? She says that in her fucking 8-year-old voice. Her hand is making its way through the cracks, holding an orange. What do? What you would do. Fucking run. I run out of my room screaming for my dad. And my dad, being a light sleeper, jumps out of bed and screams back, asking me what the hell is going on. All I could muster is, "Rose! Window!" While my dad is putting on his pants, I run back to my room, really wanting Rose to be there, so that I can show that I'm not crazy. You know how in horror movies, a person is gone by the time the witnesses come? Yeah, well, similar thing to that. Except, I caught Rose leaving. There was some house about 100 yards away from mine, and it was one of those motion-activated lights. Lots of crime back home. I saw the light turn on, and a glimpse of Rose disappearing behind that house. By the time Dad ran into my room, she was gone. After much talking, he decided that it was just a nightmare, and he told me only to call when someone is physically coming into my room. You and your fucking imagination, he said, walking away. Needless to say, I got exactly 0 hours of sleep that night. Nothing happened for the next few months. Rose would still come to visit, but I would make sure that I wasn't there. Fuck that. As in every teenager's life, so many things were happening around me, I totally forgot about the Rose incident. Then, one day, I was spending my afternoon browsing the internet. This was years before Reddit. And I got pretty hungry, so, like any spoiled child, I yelled for my room to see if my mom would come. She didn't. Oh well, tough shit. I got up to go to the kitchen and make myself a sandwich. The kitchen in our house was connected to the living room, but you can't see the living room unless you're in the middle of the kitchen. So I open up to the kitchen and walk in. I freeze. There it is, right on the kitchen table. An orange. Immediately thought of that creepy night. Rose is here. I'm motionless in my spot. A few seconds later, I realize how stupid I am for relating a common piece of fruit to a crazy window stalker. So I walk towards the table, wanting to put the orange back in the fruit cabinet. I grab the thing and then I hear the voice behind me. You will come with me soon, you know? A child's voice. It is Rose. I produce some kind of noise resembling that of a scared pig about to get slaughtered. Lightning fast, I turn around and there she is, standing in the middle of the living room. Just standing there. Same grin on her face, same lipstick on her lips, and her teeth were as white as ever. She only started tilting her head to the left a little bit. In slow motion, I remember it as if it happened yesterday. Her long black hair falling down her shoulders, a white summer dress, bright shoes to match her lipstick. And I forgot to mention that she was very pale. Even in the summer, she didn't seem to be friends with the sun. This added to the creepiness. This woman who had already scared the shit out of me once, standing alone in the living room, pale as a ghost, bright red lipstick and shoes, tilting her head to the side, speaking in a child's voice. And fucking then, she takes an orange out of her purse. She takes it out slowly and looks at me, as if she wants me to have it. Just as my self-defense mode is about to take over, I either run away or tackle the crazy bitch. My mom walks in. And I know it didn't happen, but it seemed like my mom brought the light into the room. I released a breath of relief. Rose, of course, went back to her normal self. They were about to go for a walk, and Mom was getting ready in her room when she pulled her grudge shit on me. Since my parents wouldn't believe anything I would say about her, I wasn't sure what to do. The only thing I could do at that age was nothing, I think. But I swore I'd punch that woman if she ever came close to me again. A year or so passed without any incidents, and I was getting ready to go to the United States to study in college. Since I was going to play basketball there, I had to prepare for it. I spent the summer away from home, working out in a training camp in a town about 40 miles outside of my city. During the last night at camp, the last incident happened. My roommate had left camp the day before, and I had the room to myself. I was very excited about going to America in a few days, and I had some trouble sleeping. My room had a beautiful balcony. I was on the 3rd floor of the hotel, by the way. Since it was warm, I decided to go sit on the chair on the balcony for a while. I walked out, sat down, and instantly regretted it. It really is time to come now. I nearly shit myself. It's been a while since I heard that voice, but something like that, it stays with you forever. I turned my head to the right and Rose was standing on the fence of the balcony of the room next to mine. Mind you, not standing on the balcony or sitting at the table, but standing on the fence. How she was balancing, I have no idea. The balcony was at least 50 feet off the ground. And she was holding the orange. The fucking orange. Only this time, the orange seemed to be somewhat rotten. Not nearly as bright as the first couple of times. I was scared that she would attempt to jump over to my balcony, as there was only a couple of feet of distance between them. I was also scared that she would die in her attempt to do so, and that I would be blamed somehow. I had no idea what the fuck was going on. It really is time, you know, she said in that childlike voice, never opening her jaw, teeth forever clenched together, and lipstick the color of fresh blood. She seemed even more pale this time, with her head tilted to the left even more. She wore her red shoes. What the fuck do you want from me? I screamed in desperation, angry at this woman who was causing me so much distress, but also hoping that someone would hear me and witness this crazy bitch's harassment. I only want you to go where you belong. She said that, and again, never opened her teeth. She only moved her hand forward toward me, offering me that semi-rotten orange. Fuck you, you crazy bitch. I opened the door to my room, and I was walking in, I heard, "You will come." I slammed the door, deciding that this woman must have been a schizophrenic. I probably would have flipped out more, but I was leaving the continent in a few days, at which point I would probably be safe. Wrong. I know I have a wall of fucking text, but this is the shortest version of these creepy events. I came to the US and have been here for 7 years now. I forgot about the incidents and went on with my life. The only time I ever thought about Rose was when I was talking to my mom, who said that since I left, her relationship with that crazy bitch had just fallen apart. I was glad. These were the best 7 years of my life. I got a bachelor's and master's degree, a wonderful girlfriend. You know, life's good. But fucking then, I'm a big technology geek, and I love Apple. Please don't shoot me down for this. So it was last Friday, September 21st, somewhere around there, the release of the iPhone 5. I'm in front of the store with about 50 other people. I am maybe 15th in line. It's raining, it's cold. I've been here for about 4 hours now. The doors finally open, and we start moving in slowly. I look across the street and instantly stop. People run into my back. I can hear them complaining, but it's all just bouncing off of me. Across the street, I see a woman in a white dress, head tilted, holding something orangish. A grin on her face, lipstick so bright red I can see it across the street. I can't move. Someone from the far back pushes, and I fell. While I gather myself, I see the woman disappearing behind a corner. I remain sitting on the ground. It was Rose. It was her, I swear. I sat there for a few minutes to get myself together and walk into the store. No phones left. I decide to walk across the street, and there it was. At the place where she was standing, now sits a mushed, terribly rotten orange. That's it, just a rotten orange. I started crying. All of the memories came back. I thought that my whole life would constitute being stalked of some maniac. How did she find me anyway? I spent the next few hours at a nearby coffee shop, drinking tea and reasoning how this could be logically possible. I kept no secret from my friends and family about my whereabouts. Did she stalk my Facebook? My friends? Did she travel here to harm me? What the fuck is her deal? Answering none of the questions that I asked myself, I went home, deciding just to keep it all to myself. My girlfriend noticed that something was wrong with me for the next couple of days, but didn't push it. I figured that it was all a fluke, because I was up all night and the morning. Plus, it was raining. How could I see that well? And that orange, that was just a coincidence. I convinced myself that I was just making it all up. So, today, a letter came. I get a lot of mail, so it's not out of the ordinary, but this envelope had no return address. I opened it and I was immediately shocked. I was holding a Polaroid picture. And it was me, standing in line in front of the store last Friday. Only the picture was taken by the person standing behind me, and it was taken at the exact moment I was looking across the street. I can tell because I could see the fucking horror on my face. On the back of the photo, there were a few words written in black pen. You come with me, now. I dropped the picture and started crying like a baby. Like, really, crying my ass off. My girlfriend found me in our room curled up on the bed still crying. She was terrified that someone close to us had died. She's never seen me let out a single tear before. I had to tell her. I started telling her the story, leaving out most of the details, so I can get to the point quicker. As I was talking, she was getting more and more pale. She never said a word. I finished my story and she was as pale as a ghost, not moving. Then she asked a fucking question that honestly caused me to almost faint. She said, "This woman, does she happen to, does she happen to hold an orange?" I froze. She started crying like I had never seen her cry before. We had a long talk that night. Her story would require a whole nother fucking wall of text. Honestly, I'm tired of typing, and I'm pretty sure no one is going to be willing to read all of this. I am so lost. terrified, confused. But if someone does read this, I'll write the rest. I'll write and hope that someone can offer a solution. An answer, maybe. Currently, we are both scared as fuck, not knowing what to do next. The police is an option, but what do we tell them? I don't know. I'm just fucking scared for mine and hers well-being. Please, help me. Update. Well, guys, shit. I don't know what to tell you. It happened again today. Except, I didn't see her. Let me give you a quick rundown of the events. 9 a.m. I go to the local police station with my girlfriend. We tell them all that we know and we show them the Polaroid. Although quite friendly, they say they can't do much other than file a restraining order against a person who, probably, in their words, isn't even in the country. They think that I mistook her for someone else, and the picture, well, they said it was probably a prank. They did take the photo and open a file about it, just in case it escalates. It did. 1 p.m. We arrive in town where I saw her. We went to the location and there was nothing there. Don't know what the hell I expected anyways. We stayed there for a little while. 6:30 p.m. Arriving home, the front door is open, which isn't that uncommon as we live with 5 other roommates. We go upstairs to our room door is open. Now that is unheard of, as we always make sure to lock it, and our landlord is the only person who has a key. I yell asking if anyone else is there. No response. Also, no other roommates are in the house. We walk in. We freeze. Our room is decently small, constitutes of 2 queen-size beds put together, and a little dresser. That's about it. So, what do we see? The pillows were all on our dressers, towels on the bed, our sheets taken off and put on the floor. They're spread out, and in the center of it is an orange cut in 2 halves, with the little peel next to it. My laptop is facing the door, and it's playing the same song on repeat. My laptop was turned off before I left, and it's also password protected. The song playing is a favorite from my childhood, Africa by Toto. My desktop background was changed to one of a picture from my childhood that I didn't even have on that computer. 7 p.m. We call the police. They arrive some 15 minutes later. I take about 5 pics of the mess just before they get there. They say that they'll start an investigation, but claim it's still not serious enough for fingerprints and all that stuff. 8:30 p.m. They leave and tell us to call if anything else should happen, and also advise us to stay with friends if possible. We spend the next few hours just talking, trying to figure it out. We're both exhausted mentally and physically. I'm going to Skype with my mom tomorrow and see if she knows anything. I'll type up my girlfriend's story tonight and may post it in the morning if I don't finish it in time. I'll try to include the photos that I took. Holy fuck. This shit is happening to me. I would like to thank my $10 and above patrons: Dan R., Paul Z., Mr. Swiston, Official Jerboa Chaos X, JY Pyromancer, Hayden MH, Ethan A., and welcome new $10 patron, Dark Side of the Bear. Thank you for joining. I hope you guys enjoy the Patreon-only content. If you have any suggestions for some Patreon-only content, please send them over to me via Patreon or tweet them at me if you can. And if you would like to join these guys with the Patreon-only content, getting the name read off, being super cool by being a patron, go to the Patreon link down below. And please remember to buy this author's book. That link will be down below as well.